Okay, so this is a somewhat of a follow-up video to my recent one I put out about moving into an A5 plotter. As soon as I got that, of course, the next day, Gentleman Stationer got in some inserts that are A5 punched for the ring-bound system, so I picked some up to try those in the plotter since I'm still new to it to see if they'll fit into how I want to use that notebook. So to start, these products are made by a company called Laconic. Now, there's different inserts that kind of come in these prepackaged formats, and the back shows, this is a meeting, so it's got kind of a meeting heading, and hold it over here, might show it a little better. Meeting heading, it's got open graph paper, to-do items, agenda items, things like that. This one here is a similar packet. It's like a weekly undated calendar, and that's a big thing with these, is they're undated. And it's my understanding that Plotter only releases dated calendars for the year. So this is an option if you're not using it all the time, you're not using it for the summer or something like that. It gives you some flexibility, or if you step away from your system for a while, you can come back in without having a bunch of wasted paper, which is nice. Now, I had made reference in the previous video about looking for a binder to store paper in, and I think I found that in this Laconic binder. Now, this is a kind of, like you might have in school, kind of a vinyl covered 6-ring binder, but it has really good rings, and let me see if I can show this here. It's got these little ears that you can easily do that and open and close the rings, which I like, because if you're pulling papers in and out of here, you want that to be easy to deal with. So that's a nice little feature. But other than that, this holds a bunch of... It has a lot of room to hold different papers. And as you can see here, I already have a version of the meeting notes that I have some in and I'm using. Here's a weekly calendar. There's also a monthly calendar, which is just a basic undated month across 2 pages style. And then there's another one that I don't have here that, let me grab that and I'll be right back. Okay, and here's the other one that I had taken out because this notebook, since I just got it and I have all these different open packs in there, it's a little bit fuller than I'd like at the moment, and also my plotter had to go back in for a warranty issue, which I'll talk about here later in the video. So for now, this is my main A5 that I'm putting to use as I learn the system. But this one's called My Life, and it's got a variety of different pages in it. It's got like Memorial Day, so that's essentially a daily calendar, so you'd put like birthdays or something in there. It's got a gift receipt log, gifts you've given, to-do checklist style pages, menu planning and prepping. So it's kind of a general, catch-all type variety of pages. So I thought that was interesting. I picked it up. I don't really know how many of these pages I'm going to use, but I figure if nothing else, it didn't hurt as an additional way to try out this paper. So let's get into this system as a whole. So what I've done is currently, get back over to the pages here, I have taken in this notebook, and this would actually be in the plotter. So let me go on and talk about that real quick. If you remember, I had to pause in the plotter video about the rings not opening. Well, it seems like there was something wrong with the ring mechanism on my plotter, and I contacted Dromgools, who I got it from, and they were, immediately sent out a replacement, so I'm waiting for that to arrive, because the ring was out of alignment on one of them, and that mechanism, I guess, had failed, so they double-checked the new one, because compared to the Bible-sized plotter, completely different experience. So props to Dromgools for getting that taken care of. But what I'm doing is I'm doing a simple month view in here when I'm putting in high-level events, like I'm releasing this video on this day, or this is a payday, or I'm traveling this weekend. And I only have about 3 months, 2 or 3 months in here at a time, since we just got into the next month. I never really started with May, so I have June and July in here currently, because I don't want to keep a ton in here. I want it to be the current month plus like 1 or 2. I might end up adding one more in here. I don't know that yet. As I said, I'm still learning the system. And then I'm also doing a similar thing. I'm doing a month worth of week pages, so I can have it in here. So in a way, this is something I've kind of always done, I guess. I'm using my Bible-sized plotter as what I carry around to add things in if I'm out or things come up, something I will have with me almost all the time to reference. And then normally I'd put that in an electronic format or also in here. So I'm kind of keeping track in both places. Like I said, it could be in the future I just do A5. As I learn the system, I want to keep my options open. So you can see I have a few of those pages here, and these are all undated as well. So I just used by Lamy with the M17 uni insert to do the labeling for some consistency. And since my plotter is not in here now, I do have the pen holder currently and like the project manager thing, which has work related stuff in it. So I am using this. This has stayed open on my desk nonstop since I got it. That's how the plotter was being used for the few days I had it before I had to send it back in. But this is constantly open on my desk. Now when it comes to the papers, let me go in and clear this away a little bit. And we can look at the papers. Okay, so in this notebook, I have some of the plotter paper, which is from Plotter itself. It has, it says Plotter on there. Great paper, very well performing, and I'll show a comparison here in a moment. And then this is a sheet of the Laconic paper. And I think overall, before I get into the details and show the ink and writing samples, I would consider this fountain pen tolerant. It's going to have some show through. It's going to have potentially some bleed through depending on pen and ink combo, as many of these papers can. So when we show the writing, I'll show what I mean by that. One quirk that I've come across, and I think a different hole punch is going to be what I'm going to end up needing to get to fix this issue. Plotter punches their pages with a smaller margin to the hole versus the Laconic or the papers that I've been punching with the hole punch that I had in the previous video. Now with the plotter having small rings, that can make a difference of how easily the pages turn inside. So I've already started looking to see if there's a different hole punch, just to punch that a little bit shallower to kind of match the plotter spacing, as it does perform better in there. Other than that though, the papers have been overall pretty good. So let me leave this one over to the side for now. This is the plotter paper on the left and the Laconic on the right. And I went through with my same set of pens that I've been using in my other paper testing videos for that kind of continuity. And you can see the Laconic is a little bit of a cream tint to the paper color, where the plotter is mostly white. Not true white, but more white. So you can see that difference there. But in terms of the writing, performance-wise, and let me hold this one at a time. I'll start with the plotter paper here. You can see it performs really well. You can see the sheen on the Colorverse Pulsar. The nib sizes do kind of walk up as you'd expect. The roller balls, the ball points. Now, you do notice some feathering on this Iroshizuku Cyan Gyo, and I'm beginning to believe that ink is just, it feathers on almost everything. It is, of the Iroshizuku inks, it's been probably the most fickle of the line that I've come across. And I've seen reference to that in some discords and other conversations about some Iroshizuku ink. So I'm thinking that ink might be a little bit of an outlier in terms of the Iroshizuku performance overall. So just keep that in mind if you see that in there where it's feathering. I think it's going to feather on just about anything. The multi-pen from the Uni 4-in-1 and the pencils all wrote great on here. Sharpie. It did let the color change pretty true on the Teranishi Gentle Green. And in terms of the back of the paper, aside from the Sharpie and the rollerball line, because writing on this desk mat, this is definitely a double-side use paper with almost anything on there. And that's why I think this is pretty fountain pen tolerant. I'm sure there will be some pen and ink combos that will show through. I mean, you can see it a little bit on the broad line here. I think that's, which line is that? Actually, that's the one that's showing through is that Cyan Gyo. So because it's a feathering ink, it's going to spread out more. Other than that, this is pretty good paper. Sharpie is doing what you'd expect from Sharpie, showing through. Now, as for the Laconic paper, when looking at the writing performance, you don't see the same kind of sheen on this as you do on the other from the Pulsar Pulse, so it flattens out some of the sheens. It doesn't show that through very well. The Cyan Gyo has a little bit of feathering on this paper as well. The nib sizes step up pretty well, as you'd expect. The multi-pens, pencils, and rollerball, Sharpie, they all write fine. Now you'll notice that the ink did not get the chance to change with that sheen in the drying. So that is something about this paper. If that's something you're going to be considering using a lot of heavily sheening inks or something like that, this might not be the best paper for you in this system. But for a planner, that might not be something you're really concerned with. That might be more creative journaling or independent writing. So just wanted to mention that because you can see side by side the difference in how those inks look. They almost look like separate inks in how they dried and how they show. So keep that in mind. Now, as for the back of the Laconic paper, I think it's pretty usable. The lighter inks, so the smaller nib sizes, show through hardly any. And just to mention, the lighting does make it look a little worse on camera than it looks in person. So these first couple of lines, you really don't see it when you're looking down at the paper. The camera does tend to pull that out a little bit more. Just wanted to mention that. You can see here, though, the broad nib of the Onyx shows through. Not enough where you probably couldn't get away with using dual-side paper, depending on what you're writing. So I would say broad nibs, and that's why I called this tolerant. I would probably not use very many broad nibs or really, really dark inks in this if you're going to be using both sides. And for a planner, that is kind of a necessity, so keep that in mind. But you can see one thing to show, the multi-pens and ballpoints show through nothing, and even the rollerball shows through very little. So in both of my plotters so far, I've been doing more multi-pens or things like that I keep in the pen loops, and then I supplement with my fountain pens that I have at my desk, and I'll show a couple of those here in a moment. But I think this paper is decent for the price point and the different formatting options of the meeting notes and the variety of rulings. I think this is a pretty good system, and if nothing else, this Laconic is a great way to try the 6-ring system and see if you like it before you fully commit to something like a Plotter or a William Hanna or something that's a little bit higher end. So this might be a good way to, investigate the system to see if it's going to work for you. Now, I do have another sheet here that has some other pens on it that are non-standard, the pens that I had at my desk, and this has some of the Amarillo stationery inks in it, my Opus 88 demonstrator that has a different Edelstein ink in it. I wrote on here with the rollerball, or my Retro 51 rollerball, and then the Lamy tri-pen that has the Lamy inserts in it, my Lamy M17, and then the 2 different inserts I have that are G2 size that are Schmidt extra fine needle points that I use in my Spoke Design pen or in my other brass pen that takes the Pilot G2 size refills. So I wanted to show that because those are pens that I'm actually using in my plotter and, well, eventually in both plotters, but using in my Bible size currently, and I've been using in this Laconic. And you can see here, with those inks, they really don't show through at all. The only thing that shows through is that Retro 51 rollerball, and you'd kind of expect a rollerball to show through a little bit on this type of paper, but everything else, even the Schmidt G2 refills, they really don't show through at all. So I wanted to point that out, that you really would want to try your pen and ink combo to be sure you find something that's going to work with how you want to write, how you want to use this, but don't limit yourself. Fountain pen friendly is such a subjective term these days that you kind of have to do some testing for yourself to see what's going to be the right solution for you. So as I said, in terms of pens that I've been keeping and using in these, aside to the fountain pens of whatever variety happen to be on my desk for the day, I did pick up from Vanessa one of the Lamy tri-pens. Joe from Gentleman Stationer did a write-up on this. He's a big multi-pen fan and enthusiast. And I liked this because it fits in the pen holder on the plotter. That pen holder is not the largest. And I do plan on getting this weekend, when I go to Gentleman Stationer, some Uniball D1 refills to change out in here to switch this over to a better ink because I really don't like how the Lamy ballpoints write. This is a replacement of my original Lamy that I got. I was messing around with it the other day, and if you notice this clip, I kind of snapped it out, and it seems like it's stuck like that now, so it was not staying in the pin loops very well. And with this being the plastic one, I didn't really fret over it. I put the normal M16 back in there, and that's probably going to end up in my Jeep or something like that for an emergency ballpoint. But I picked up this other Lamy body and was able to put that M17 in here. This clips on really well to the outside of that Laconic binder as I'm figuring out pen and ink combos. Of course, my Uni 4-in-1 multi-pen that I've used on all these writing samples, I've really become a fan of this. I love how it writes. And this is the one that is made, the wood is from whiskey barrels. So that's just a nice little perk, and I like that it's blacked out. And then, as I mentioned before, the spoke design titanium. And this is the one that I did get a blue insert in from the previous plotter video. I had a black one in there in my Vanessa order that just arrived. I went on and picked up a blue insert in there because I liked having the variety of being able to write in blue with this pen. And these Schmidt refills were really great performers. And you can write small with them. You can write larger. And the fact that it wasn't showing through the paper, that really made it a win for me. So this is just a kind of a quick look at the Laconic system. As I said, I'm looking for options of how I want to use this plotter notebook. And this just happened to be timing-wise, arriving at my local store the day after I got my plotter in. So I was able to go and pick those up and kind of put them through the paces this week. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, so I think I will integrate some of this into my setup overall. But that'll still be something I work through over the coming weeks and months to figure out exactly what that system's going to be. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far, and I do plan on keeping some of these other undated inserts in my system going forward for various uses regardless. Okay, so that's going to wrap up this look at the different Laconic inserts and binder system. Have you used this yet? Is this something you like? Do you like the undated planners? Leave me a comment. Let me know. As I said, I'm learning this system. I want to find out what all my options are so that I don't leave anything left on the table and I can find the right solution from the start that's going to work for me. If you're new to the channel, go on and click on that subscribe button for me. It'll really help me out. And until next time, I'll see you on the next video.